You're listening to BQN. Assimilate the audio.
Infinite diversity.
Live long and prosper, and welcome to Infinite Diversity, a Star Trek Universe podcast here on the BQN Podcast Collective. I'm your host for today, Chrissie, and joining me is my co-host, Thad. Thad, how are you doing today?
I'm riding a wave of amniotic fluid, so pretty good.
Okay. That's your sound's really good for that kind of a situation, so that's all right. All right, and joining us today is BQN's own Mark White, host of All Good Things and It's Green. Mark, how are you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing great. I have discovered that there's a changeling on board, and I'm going rogue. I'm going to find this changeling.
Awesome. We definitely need to do that. You don't want changelings on board.
Nope.
Yeah, changelings aren't real. The Dominion War never happened.
I hope they don't find my pot.
There is that.
Your pot that is apparently the exact same design for every changeling who ever lived.
Oh, I was talking about cannabis.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That was beautiful. So nice. Terry Matalas actually addressed that on Twitter.
Yes, he did.
Because somebody said that. And he was like, you don't know the changeling's backstory. So, all right, fine. But yes, that was ridiculous. All right, well, before we jump into our topic today, we'd like to take a moment to thank our Patreon patrons who make the show possible, particularly our associate producers, Carl Wonders and Justin Oser. Listeners, you can hear your name listed as one of our associate producers for a monthly subscription of just $10 at patreon.com/BQN. And with a monthly Patreon subscription of just $5, you can join our meetings of the Hive Mind on the second Saturday of each month. Watch your Patreon messages for details. All right, so as I said, today we are going to be talking about Picard episode No-Win Scenario, also known as yet another Star Trek submarine movie, which is okay. Mark, what are your initial thoughts on this episode?
Well, another fantastic episode. They seemingly can do no wrong. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I like that they brought up right at the start sort of why Seven hasn't been reinstated, in that she could be more useful not reinstated. And obviously the backstory with Picard and with Crusher and that whole thing. I love the fact that we do find out that he did make an attempt to go and find him, but just sort of chickened out. So that was cool. They didn't do silly de-aging in this episode, which was great because the de-aging was so bad last week. Oh, man. Yeah, so all of these things are great. And I don't mind the contrast. The black on red, I just thought that, to me, it looks cool. Like, I don't know. I have a 4K TV. To me, it looked great.
Well, the black on red.
Oh, there's a lot of discourse on the internet that this week's episode was too dark.
Oh. Yeah, well, the whole season's been dark, so...
Yeah, I would say I personally wouldn't mind if things were a little brighter, but I had no trouble seeing things. I could still tell what was happening.
All right, well, Thad, what were your thoughts on this episode?
I think it's the best one yet. I loved it. I think everybody was firing on all cylinders here. Picard was great. Crusher was great. Riker was great. Mm-hmm. Shaw was great. Seven was great. Just everyone. It was just a fantastic episode of Star Trek. And I think just everything came together. This was what the first 3 episodes had sort of been building to. And this just was a good episode. And once again, I want more.
Agreed. The only minor complaint that I have about this is that it felt a bit anticlimactic because I was quite sure that they weren't all going to die because there were 7 episodes left, which is a problem with, all Trek. There is that sense of like, okay, we're in mortal danger, but we know there's an episode next week and this isn't Game of Thrones. So that is a very, very, very minor complaint. But other than that, I thought it was great as well, and lots of stuff to unpack on this and get into. So shall we start at the beginning with Picard having fish and chips, because that is an incredibly French dish to have.
Is it though? Oh.
No,
but it's a very appropriate thing to order in a bar.
Dish. Well, that's true.
Le fish and chips.
Yeah. Le poisson et des... Oh, shoot, what's chips?
Pommes frites.
Frites, yes. Le poisson et des pommes frites.
Oui.
Yes. Oui. Je peux parler en petit peu de français. Yeah. Anyway. Right. So he's in the bar, and he gets, like, jumped on by some cadets or ensigns. I wasn't quite sure. Combination of the two. And the man who has no need for a legacy starts telling stories.
I'm not one for telling stories, but here, let me volunteer a couple stories.
Exactly.
They ambushed him.
What do you guys think about this?
He wasn't going to be rude.
Yeah, but he also kept going after, like, the first story when he could have said, okay, that's it. Then at that point, then he was like in his element and wanting to tell more stories.
He's been away from the crew for so long and on his chateau. He was reminiscing. He got a little carried away. It makes sense to me. I've been around enough old people.
Oh, yeah.
He is the hermit of Labar, after all, at this point.
Oh, yeah.
So that does make sense, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm mocking him, but I don't think it's... Yeah, I think it's exactly accurate to how a lot of people are.
Yeah, and I think it's consistent because in the first episode of the season, he was talking about writing his memoirs, which is something we have not heard him say previous to this. We heard him talk about he wrote some books on World War II, I think.
Dunkirk.
we find out in the first season. Dunkirk, yep. Yeah. So there's a thought process about what his own life has been, which I think is consistent through the whole series with that, so... so he talks about, we get one reference of something that we know, and that's the Temerians and the Darmok, and then we get a reference for apparently he got hunted by the Hirogen, and Worf saved him, or Worf set up a situation that allowed him to survive.
There were some people talking on the Hive Mind yesterday, which will be dropping on the network's feed within the next couple weeks. Anyway,
Excellent.
Some people mentioning about this yesterday that were bent out of shape a little bit about it, but like they literally, they tell that it was a surprise within the episode. They're like, how did this happen? He's coming from the Delta Quadrant and, whatnot. So to me, it made sense. I wasn't upset about it. They're like, oh, did you get help from Admiral Janeway? Like, all of that I was fine with. I wasn't upset with that at all. I thought it was kind of cool. I'd like to kind of know more about what that happened. Evidently, we're still working with Worf at the time because Worf helped formulate a plan. I like how they roped Worf in. It was cool. It was cool.
There's a book there.
Maybe a Short Treks episode.
Well, it made me think of one of the books, actually. Because I think it's the middle book in the Destiny trilogy, there's like a brief interlude where the Enterprise goes through a transwarp corridor and ends up in the Delta Quadrant, and Hirogen do board the ship.
I had forgotten that.
The listeners can take a shot now. Thad's mentioned the Destiny trilogy.
Fair. That's a good one to do.
They're gonna be drunk by the end of the episode.
Don't use uniforms if you don't want to be drunk by the end of the episode. I had forgotten that. So maybe that's another book callback, which they've been good at doing. So I appreciate that. And people have been talking about the fact that he cites Worf as a lieutenant commander, and that he should be full commander. I went through this conversation with a few people. He's a lieutenant commander when DS9 is over, when he goes to go be the ambassador.
And he's a lieutenant commander in Nemesis as well. Yeah.
So we know that he's captain. He is a captain for a short period of time, but we never see him as commander or lieutenant or as a captain. So
right. And I
establishing that for everyone.
Yeah, and I took that as Picard saying at that time in this story, when this happened, Worf was lieutenant commander. That doesn't necessarily mean he's still a lieutenant commander.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Okay, good. We're all on the same page.
Wait till Bashir shows up as his handler. That's going to be cool.
Oh, talk about book callbacks. That would be... I'd be down for that. That would...
Calling it
if one of us had said it, that would be time. That would also be time for a shot, because we've been talking about Bashir showing up in every show, basically.
Just about, yeah.
Maybe that's where I got it from. I listen to you guys too much.
Yeah. Well, I can't complain about that. No. Yeah, so we have this little flashback, and then we are back on the ship, and we are falling into a gravity well, and
They're being sucked into the gravity well.
Excuse me, you're correct. Yeah.
To be fair, when you're falling into gravity, it is gravity sucking you. So, I mean, okay, that sounded wrong. But, I mean, it's the same basic principle. Like, if you fall, it is gravity pulling on you.
Somebody out there is going to get a gravity tattoo after this episode. I'm not going to say where.
Mm-hmm. Ooh. That's funny.
You guys didn't know you were in for inviting me on, did you?
Oh, no, we did.
Oh yeah, we did.
Okay.
Okay, well, they're in this thing, and there's gravity, and it's going to kill them. How about that? So we get this little bit of Riker explaining what had been going on, explaining to Picard, and talking about his grief with the death of Thaddeus and the moment of seeing him be buried, which I think, I mean, I can't speak to that as a parent who's lost a child, but I can speak to it as seeing, I have been to many a funeral, and that is quite a moment.
Yeah.
And I think anybody who has been to a funeral and been at the graveside understands that. And he doesn't know if there's anything after, which is an interesting thing to come out of a human's mouth in this universe. Mm-hmm. So what did you guys think about that?
Well, I mean, Star Trek has never directly addressed what the majority of humans, if they do even all believe the same thing in the 25th century, believe about that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think we've all assumed, based on Roddenberry's views, that it's, you know, it's the general atheist humanist belief that death is the end and there's nothing more. But that's not necessarily true about how all humans believe in that time period, because they don't really talk about it too much. I don't know. I mean, I personally don't believe there's anything after death, but I can see how perhaps if Riker had been raised to believe that there was, and then started doubting that would certainly be a crisis of faith.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mark? Mark's making faces.
I don't get the impression that Riker ever really believed in a higher power or was around people that believed in a higher power. I get the impression from the dialogue that he is hoping after the death of his son for a higher power. Like, it would be great if his son was floating around somewhere in the ethos, you know? He hasn't seen any examples of it, but he's hoping that it is true. That's what I got out of the dialogue.
Yeah. I could take it in a couple of different ways. My first reaction, and this is because I was raised Catholic, is that it's an argument for faith. It's an argument in favor of faith because he would be comforted by that. Right. But I don't think that's 13 years of Catholic school shouting at me in the back of my head. What it struck me more is something I have heard from a lot of people who have come to agnosticism or atheism from faith, which is, I wish I could still believe this. You know, I wish I had a way to comfort myself with this, but I can't because I know better. Yep. And it was a very interesting moment, and I thought one that we haven't seen with our characters in that way before.
Yeah, and I think
So, yeah.
yes, and I think probably because I am also of that general persuasion, raised Christian, and then have over the years come to determine that is not, in my opinion, what actually happens, etc. And yeah, I have that same thing. I often think, man, I really wish I could have that comfort of knowing that that God is there, and that when I die, I get to frolic with the angels or whatever. And I think
Seems really boring to me.
that's fair.
Hell sounds a lot more exciting. That's where all the fun people are going to be.
Well, yeah.
And I think because I have that same viewpoint on myself, I think that's why I sort of see that's how Riker is seeing it too. But that's again, we really don't. Star Trek has never because they don't want to have the publicity and the backlash. They've never come straight out and said, everyone, like, no one believes in God in the future, etc., etc. And I think that's because probably there still are plenty of people who do, but
we do know from Lower Decks that there are women in Starfleet who wear a hijab.
Yes, that's true.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think we saw a Sikh man with the, is that a turban? Or is there another word for it?
Wrap?
I think we saw the same on Lower Decks. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah, and I remember there were a couple of people on Twitter that were really mad about that, too.
Yes, they were.
Oh,
well.
Get over yourself. Jeez.
Yeah.
Infinite diversity, people.
It was obviously wrapped in 21st century prejudice, but the justification they gave was that, Gene Roddenberry envisioned a future where there was no religion.
Okay. He also envisioned future with, a planet with a bunch of almost naked people running around and not knowing what the laws were, except that they fell in the grass and they died. So,
Yeah, and his version of that episode was going to have a lot of actual sex happening in the background in every scene.
Indeed. Anyway. So, Riker tries to record a conversation or a message for Deanna, and he can't, and I completely can understand that. And then we find out that there's a changeling on board. How did you guys feel about this little twist? I mean, we knew from last week about the changelings. Mark, how did you? Not were you expecting it? I guess I could ask that, but like, when they talked about the connections for DS9, did you imagine that it was going to be changelings, or how do you feel about the fact that they brought them in?
It makes sense from the first episode that it was that creepy dude in the hallway. I was like, he had creepiness written all over him anyway. I was like, oh, yeah, it makes sense to be that dude. But yeah, I don't know. I like that they're expanding on bringing in the changelings. I think that's cool. I don't know. I've watched all of Deep Space Nine multiple times, but I wouldn't consider myself an expert on it. So if they're stepping on something, I wouldn't necessarily recognize it as fast as somebody else. But to me, I think it's cool. I like it. Explore them more, especially from the angle of Seven hasn't been exposed to them because she was in the Delta Quadrant, so she really doesn't know about changelings.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, was it on this podcast where you guys were talking about the fact that Vadic was smoking the cigar, and so wasn't the changeling in one of the original series movies?
Oh, no, that wasn't us, but yeah.
Oh, wow, I hadn't even thought of that.
Catch.
The woman on Aurora Penthe, that was really cute.
Yeah.
She was smoking the cigar.
Martia.
Yeah.
She's a
Played by
supermodel.
Iman.
Yeah, there we go. That was David Bowie's wife. There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were both lucky.
Wow, I didn't make that connection at all. Yet another Star Trek VI connection for this. And have we retconned that Marta was a changeling?
Well, she was. She changed into Kirk.
She could
Right,
she was certainly someone who could change shape, but I don't like I think they have the general consensus has been that she wasn't the same as the changelings from DS9, but it's certainly
Right.
possible that she could have been.
There are a few aliens within Trek that have the ability to change form.
Right.
Yes.
Even in the animated series, they had that weird orange thing with the tentacles that could change into other other.
And there
forms,
were
so.
the aliens from the Dolphin
Yeah. Yeah.
in TNG.
Okay.
The one that Wesley fell in love with.
Yeah.
They changed shape. So
The salt vampire.
Yep, salt vampire.
Yeah.
Yep.
So.
Okay.
But
Well-
they were both smoking cigars, so I caught that.
I think that was probably intentional.
I mean,
and now,
all people who
like,
smoke
now I
cigars
think,
are clearly changelings. I'm sorry, I have a changeling too.
Not Rios. We like Rios. Rest in peace.
Rios would be the exception that proves the rule, right?
Yeah.
No, but now my headcanon is that Marta is one of the 100 that they sent out, and
Ah,
like Odo.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we don't know when they did that. We don't know how long Odo was floating around before he was found.
true.
Okay, anyway,
Can't believe I kissed you. Must have
That's
been
a
your
good
lifelong
catch.
ambition.
I love that movie. Oh, okay. Right. So we talked about Seven not knowing about the Dominion because of Voyager missed the Dominion War because they were in the Delta Quadrant. But it occurred to me on my second watch of this, or third watch, the Borg have never run into the Changelings.
Yeah,
Because even if they couldn't assimilate them, there still would have been, like a note in the records. This is species blah, blah, blah. And she doesn't know about them at all.
the Borg never went to the Gamma Quadrant, as far as we know.
Right. But it's interesting. The encounter between those two groups would be, that'd be a hell of a thing.
Electrifying.
Yeah, I don't know who to bet for on Jem'Hadar versus Borg.
I don't either. Oh, forget the Jem'Hadar. I was just talking the changelings in total.
Oh,
you
well,
know?
I meant like the actual
Actually
combat would
themselves.
be between the Jem'Hadar and the Borg. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah, that would be nothing. The Borg would take them in a heartbeat.
Would they?
I think so.
The Jem'Hadar would fight to the death, though. I don't know. I feel like there would be.
Oh, well, yeah, they die instead of being assimilated. Yeah.
Like I feel like they just keep sending wave after wave of Jem'Hadar until there were no Borg left. But the Borg could do this. They would have the same tactic. So it would really depend on how large the group was.
That's true. It would be the Eastern Front in World War II. How many people can we throw at this until one group runs out of people? But a Borg that could a Borg that could change shape, isn't that like the ultimate scary?
But how would the implants work then?
I don't know.
Like I feel like the changelings probably wouldn't be able to be assimilated, sort of like species 8472.
And that was kind of my thought too, but I was trying to come up with a nightmare, Anyway, so then we have that wonderful conversation between Seven and Shaw. I have been told that him playing with a knife was a 12 Monkeys reference, but I have not seen 12 Monkeys. Do you guys know?
I believe. Well, there's a knife in the episode I recently watched of 12 Monkeys, and I didn't notice if it was the same knife or not. But it was a knife that was supposedly made out of the bone of this person, and they went back in time, and the person got stabbed with the knife, and then all of a sudden it broke time. So I don't know. So I think it was that knife. I'm not 100% sure, though. I didn't get a good enough look at it, if that's what they're talking about.
I don't know. I thought it was an odd thing for him to be doing, and then someone on Twitter was talking about it and mentioned that they thought he might have been, as the Romans would say, contemplating the sword, or whether it was worth killing himself. I don't know.
I don't think so.
It almost feels, yeah.
Shaw's an interesting written character. I don't understand the logic of requesting Seven of Nine to be your first officer with this extreme hatred of Borg and all in this fear of Borg and wanting to avoid the Borg, and yet you're going to be that. I don't get it unless you're an extreme like sadist, which this person might be, right? I mean, if he just brought her on to torture her. But even that doesn't make sense, because you'd think he'd want to avoid her completely. Like, he didn't want anything to do with Riker or Picard. I'm shocked. It just doesn't make sense to me in my headcanon why he would request her. I don't know.
Well, I wonder if it's an extension of his own self-loathing. He knows that it will hurt him to bring her on.
So is he a masochist?
Yeah. I think possibly, yeah.
Unconsciously, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe he didn't get a choice.
Well, we know he's a dipshit from Chicago, so...
There you go. So maybe he was raised Catholic and he is into punishing himself.
Yeah, we fixed it.
There we go. Fun fact, Shaw is the first person on Star Trek to be called a dick and to be called a dipshit, and it happened in the same episode.
Nice. Yeah, I didn't think dipshit had shown up on Star Trek before, not even Lower Decks.
I'm not opposed to the cursing. I love cursing. And now that we're on pay for TV, why not? Picard can say, the F word. He's earned it.
Yeah, I mean, it's rated TVMA, so it's fine. I had no problem with it when it happened in Discovery. I have no problem with it now. I
can't watch with my 6-year-old.
You shouldn't be watching this show with your 6-year-old anyway. It's rated TVMA.
Or here's an idea. Explain to your 6-year-old that sometimes adults say these words to express themselves in situations that are incredibly bad.
They hear worse
and don't
words
say it at school.
Walking around their local Kmart.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Seriously.
Well, no one has a local Kmart anymore, but yes.
God, I'm just dating myself left and right, aren't I?
Hey, you didn't call it a Kresge's, at least. That's good.
I don't even know what that is.
I don't know what that is.
That was a Kmart before Kmart.
Okay.
That's what my mother always called Kmart. Because she remembered Kresge's. Anyway.
In New England, we had Ames.
Someone out there...
I remember Ames.
Oh, God, we're old.
I know A and P.
I also
you guys
remember
have A and P's around you? Yeah. Our Canadian listeners are like, what do you mean? There's still A and P's around because they're all up there now.
We also have Toys R Us, I've been told.
Oh, I miss Toys R Us.
Yeah.
Fun fact, and this is an absolute digression, the sort of thing that Mark hates. Toys R Us going out of business saved me from credit card fraud.
What?
Nice.
So, as listeners may know, I am a huge Lego fan. I have a lot of Legos. I buy a lot of Lego sets, etc. I used to have a Toys R Us credit card because it would give you points to buying things at Toys R Us. So I would basically use it to get myself free Lego sets. And then when Toys R Us went out of business, obviously that card stopped working. The bank that issued it sent me another one with a different number that no longer gave me Toys R Us points. And that same year, everyone who had bought tickets for Star Trek Las Vegas through the website had their credit card info stolen. But I had used the Toys R Us card, so I was safe because the number didn't exist anymore.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
That's cool.
See, I tied it back to Star Trek. It's fine.
I was going to say, you got it Star Trek related. Yeah, well, I guess while we're on the topic, I don't know if there's anything else to say about it, but yeah, people up in arms about Picard saying 10 fucking grueling hours. I mean...
Do you guys swear on this podcast?
Generally not.
Generally not. We generally try to keep this show rated the equivalent of PG-13.
All right, well, I will refrain from saying it in full again. You get one in every PG-13 movie, right?
And in this case, I would say this qualified as fair use because you were critiquing the thing in the actual episode. So we're fine.
Yeah. It was like when you're a kid and you're like, no, I was quoting. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, I think we're all pretty well on the same page about that. It's kind of ridiculous that anybody would be disturbed.
Well, you know the internet.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it comes down to those same Gene's Vision people, but, you know.
Yeah, because Gene Roddenberry never said that. I'm quite sure.
Yeah, what these people don't understand, or rather refuse to understand, is that the only reason there was no swearing in older Star Trek is because it was on network TV, and the censors wouldn't allow it. Yeah. And honestly, they still swore, because Picard said "merde" a bunch on TNG, which,
oh yeah,
for listeners who don't know, is French for shit, and is a pretty, pretty serious word. Certainly in the 80s, you could not say shit on network TV. They got around it by saying "merde."
Which surprises me. It surprised me, when I first figured out that's what it was, and I just like, okay.
And the actual very first use in the U.S. on network TV of the word hell, other than to literally describe the place where Satan is, was on Star Trek, on City on the Edge of Forever, when Kirk says, "Let's get the hell out of here." And I saw someone point that out, and then someone else who'd been complaining about the F-bomb was saying, well, that's not really a swear word. It's like, it's not today. It was then.
It was in 66. Oh, in 67, whatever it was. Gods. There was, and I'm going to completely garble this because I don't entirely remember, but sometime in the last year, there was a lawsuit over, I think a wrongful termination lawsuit, because the person was fired supposedly for swearing on the job and creating a hostile work environment or something. And the context was really dumb. It was like they dropped a hammer on their foot and said F-bomb. And the judge ruled that that's not offensive anymore.
Right. It's not like
basically.
They were...
And
if they're saying F you to their coworkers, that's a whole other thing.
And that's not about the word, it's about the sentiment.
Right.
Anyway, so, get over yourselves. Do what my parents did and raise your kids on George Carlin, and then you don't have to worry about it.
Oh, no, my parents definitely didn't do that.
No.
I was certainly not allowed to say any of those words, but I didn't get to watch George Carlin talk about it.
I think I have told this story before, but my sister had the whole, a chunk of the 7 dirty words bit down pat when she was 6.
Nice.
And we'd be like, okay, you can do this now. Show the family because it's funny, but don't do it at school. So back to Trek and not swearing. The moment where Shaw is explaining to Seven how to find a changeling, and he starts being all nice,
is what I would say.
What do you guys think about that? Yes.
If you were a changeling and not just a dick. I loved that scene. That was so good.
Mm-hmm.
He's admitting, though, that he's acknowledging the fact that he knows he doesn't treat her well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And he's dismissing it
really
as if, well, I know
me.
it, so it's okay that I don't.
It's his way of I almost feel like it's a way of him trying to apologize without actually apologizing. In the same way that we get later when he says understood. When she says she always calls me Commander 7 out of respect.
Out of respect.
Yeah.
That scene I liked.
I love that scene.
Yeah. Yeah. And the what does he say in the holodeck in 10 Forward? Somewhere along the line, was it charm was replaced by
being an asshole replaced
or something?
Yeah. Yes, replaced being civil or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
There must be, and this has been brought up on other podcasts, but there must be an extreme shortage of captains.
Yeah. We did talk about that on this podcast.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. And we're going to talk about it again, getting to Shaw's story, because I think there's something I hadn't considered. So.
I would watch a show that is Seven and Shaw on a ship, I would watch that.
Yes.
The first episode of this series, I was so against Shaw, and I still really don't like him at all, but it's that back and forth that I am actually low-key enjoying. So I would tune in and watch it. And the actor's great, and I'm enjoying him in 12 Monkeys too.
No, I mean, he's doing a fantastic job with this. We are getting exactly what we're supposed to get from him.
Yeah.
Which is who he is. So, all right. So, Seven goes to look for the bucket. Well, she had found his dead body. That's right. We didn't mention that.
So she's looking for the bucket to find the residue.
Residue. I love that. I love that. But the changeling showed up before, or the changeling replaced this guy before the Crusher showed up. So there's nothing associated there. Is this why Beverly told him don't trust anyone? Did she know? Does she know that there's changelings around?
I think that it was implied that that's what she suspects. Because they had actually been exposed to the Dominion War. They know about the changelings. And she has said that we keep getting pursued. First it was these people, then it was these people, then it was these people. She's noticed a pattern. And it can't be, I guess, not connected. They have to be connected in some way. And so her head is sort of like, well, maybe it's the same people. They just keep changing shape. I mean, that's one possibility.
So she goes and finds the bucket, and then runs into the changeling, who destroys the bucket, and then turns into goo and goes elsewhere.
I want to give props to that actor, because that actor did really great movements with his face. He didn't have any dialogue, but he was very memorable. I love the way he contorted his jaw and made his eyes all weird. It was great. Robert O'Reilly would be proud.
Our eyes. Yep. Yep, I like that. Okay, and then Jean-Luc and Jack have to have their moment in holographic 10 forward. Holographic LA 10 forward. When he pulls the bottle of wine out of from behind the counter, I get that in the real one in LA that he has his own stash of Chateau Picard, and it's a good year and all that. But this is a holodeck, so it's a replicated Chateau Picard. So I guess he could have had the computer analyze it and recreate it. It just seems a little bit... I don't know. I was pulled out of it for a moment. I'm like, that's not real wine.
I wonder if he brought
wine,
the 10 Forward program with him. And he had already, made sure that it had a perfect recreation of Chateau Picard in it.
That would make sense. Yeah, I hadn't thought of it that way.
He's just got it on a little chip.
Hell, he's a synth now. He could just, it could be programmed.
It's just in him. He just sticks his finger in. Boom.
Yeah.
Oh my lord.
Yep.
Well, he doesn't have that Moriarty chip.
No, that's somewhere else. Yeah, so we have this heart-to-heart between father and son, or it's really not a heart-to-heart, it's more of a... Picard needs the moment. I liked that. What did you guys think about that? That, Jack's like, I'm good, I don't need this, I've lived my whole life without you, and Jean-Luc needs it.
I loved that. I thought it was perfect. Made sense to me. And I'm glad he took that moment for himself. And Jack indulged him, and it did mean something. And I think when he said that, I think that something clicked with Jack that reverted back to that previous conversation in the bar where he said that he didn't need anybody because he always had Starfleet. But and Jack believed that, but now for the first time, Jack is seeing that, well, maybe that wasn't the whole truth. It might have been a truth in the moment, but it wasn't the whole truth. And so Jack is seeing now for the first time, here's a man that, maybe he did want me in his life. Maybe he did want to have a son. So
yeah, when Picard said that, he didn't know he had a son, which completely changes the equation.
Yeah.
And he's also talking to young Starfleet officers who may be debating if they can have a good life without a family if their family is Starfleet. So what else is he going to say? You know? Yeah. Yeah, I thought that was a nice bit of... I don't know. I was about to say a nice bit of emotion that we get from Picard, which makes it sound as though we don't get emotional moments from him, but sometimes we don't. A lot of time we don't. That's kind of who he is, so...
He, you know, especially during TNG, could be a little on the stoic side.
Yes. Definitionally stoic, I think. What'd you guys think about the holodeck having a independent battery?
It did on Voyager.
Running. Yeah.
Because they ran the Fairhaven program when they were going through that area of space where I don't remember exactly what was happening, but that was like the main plot of one of the primary plots of that episode was they kept the holodeck running because it was on its own separate power. It makes a certain amount of sense, but like, how often are ships going to be in a situation where people think they're going to die, but the ship is not in such immediate right now danger that people are able to leave their station and go to the holodeck? Like, I feel like that's a relatively niche situation.
Well, it's like the oxygen mask that dropped down in the middle of the plane during turbulence. It's like that oxygen is not going to prevent you from dying in a crash. It's just going to make you high on oxygen so that when you are dying, you're not miserable.
Well, it doesn't help you in a crash, but it does help you if the plane's depressurized.
I stand by my point.
Also, I mean, yeah, getting high on oxygen is fun. So, yeah.
Well, we also had VIX open the whole time on DS9 during the Dominion War, too. So, you know, that... But I feel like, you know, when they're getting to the point where, like, okay, we're going to shut off all of life support in order to have this last bit of power. Like, is that last bit of power as much as what the holodeck is taking up? And if you pulled the holodeck battery, would that be enough to get you out of the thing?
The holodeck, it seems like it would take a lot of energy.
Yeah, I think the idea is that the holodeck is completely separate from everything else. Like, they couldn't take that power because it's not connected.
And that just seems like a bad idea, too.
Yeah, I agree.
But, you know, that, I don't know. Right. So we get the story about Jean-Luc and Jack in the shuttle. I like how blunt Jack was. The younger Jack was.
I like how...
You went back to get laid.
I like how the place they went was Argelius, which is where... which is from the TOS episode where Scotty is possessed by Jack the Ripper.
I didn't look that up. I knew I recognized it, but I couldn't remember why. That's funny.
Now, can somebody explain... I've watched the episode now 4 or 5 times. Can somebody explain to me what had happened? Because I still don't get their little story. It didn't make any sense to me. Maybe I was just phasing in and out while he was talking. But each time, I don't know. I just didn't get it. I was like, what happened? Why is the shuttle... What's going on?
They basically lost all the controls on the shuttle. They had to, like... Or all the computer controls. Like, it stopped working.
Why?
It was they said a micrometeor went through something.
Okay, I missed that. So micrometeor went through. They lost sensors.
They lost the engine control.
Yeah.
Okay.
And sensors. Yep.
Okay.
And they had turned off the comms so that they couldn't be bothered.
Yeah.
By the ship. I want to know what happened when they got back. I mean, I know what happened. They all they got reprimanded.
I would think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
But then they limped back, right? Like on impulse or something.
Yeah.
Or sublight.
Not even, just thrusters.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. So they used inertia and gravity, and got themselves back to the ship. What bothers me about this story?
Taken a while.
Okay.
Yeah.
10 hours.
Good thing they were reasonably close.
Yeah. Did the ship not realize? I mean, I get that they were trying to sneak away and they planned on getting back before anybody realized they were gone. But they were gone longer than they had intended to be, and at some point you would have think they didn't show up for their shift.
And wouldn't
or someone would
there
be
be
looking for them?
Wouldn't they have noticed when the shuttle launched? Like,
we have an unauthorized launch of a shuttlecraft. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. That literally happened just a couple episodes ago on this show.
Yeah. But maybe with, if people were on shore leave, maybe there were shuttles going back and forth and they just snuck out with, That one I can explain, the rest of it. It seems like they would have gone looking for them. And if they were just in orbit of this planet and they had to limp back while still in orbit of the planet, somebody would have noticed.
Yeah.
But again, I'm thinking too hard, so it's okay. Yeah, because we already talked about this morning. So, I will say, apparently that was an ad lib by Patrick Stewart. He added it in.
The F-bomb? Nice.
Oh.
So, cool. And then we get to Shaw coming in. And, yeah. First of all, how often do we see somebody in a cast with a cane? I mean, that was to present the gravity of his injuries.
Right. I wonder why. Mm-hmm. Like, why weren't they able to just heal his leg?
Well, I mean, if a lot of the systems are down due to being in that anomaly and they're pulling life support and what have you, the system, the biobed that would have been used to repair him was probably down as well. So they had to frontier medicine it.
You'd think that would be a more important thing to power than the holodeck.
You'd think. But you can't pull the battery from the holodeck, so you could...
Why don't they make a holographic medical bed?
And make a holographic... Yeah. Well, we have to remember he had the other injuries too, so maybe they prioritized the internal bleeding as they should, and took the Pulaski route on the leg, I guess.
Let's get Terry Metalis in here and ask him.
Yeah. He's been responding to stuff on Twitter. He may have answered this already. I didn't see. I think God
bless him for actually answering every single person who complains. Like, it's impressive.
Him,
Talk about masochistic.
Yeah.
I mean, but that's all right. So we finally find out Shaw's story and why he hates the ex-Borg and he has such a problem with Picard. Did we know 40 starships and 11,000 dead?
I think so.
Did we have the numbers before?
I think so, but I don't know for sure.
Okay.
It's been too long since I've seen Best of Both Worlds.
I don't think we had the 11,000 dead there. Maybe the 40 starships when they're talking about the fleet coming together, but
they may have also discussed it in Emissary. I'm not sure.
That's true too. Or any number of times since.
Yes.
Right. We've talked before about how bad are things in Starfleet because of the amount of people who died at 359. And then and then the Dominion War, a half a generation later.
And the synth uprising and the protostar thing and all the other things that kill lots of people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so basically Starfleet should be run by 10-year-olds now. But one thing that hadn't occurred to me until this episode was not how many people died, but how many people left.
Oh, yeah.
Because they couldn't go back. And that's something I hadn't considered. So if there's 11,000 dead, another 5,000 who resign, 10,000 who resign, So just again, talking about how the rough shape that Starfleet would have been in after that. Which brings us to this question that you added, Mark, which I thought was very good, is how old is he?
Okay, so when Mark asked that question, I did some math.
Excellent.
If we assume that Shaw was, very young officer, maybe about 20, Wolf 359. Wolf 359 took place in 2367. We now know, after confirmation from Terry Metalis, because there was discussion about this in the first episode, that Picard season 3 takes place in 2401, which is 34 years afterwards, which would put Shaw at 54 now, which is the same age as Todd Stashwick. So that works perfectly.
Really?
Right.
Yes.
He's 54?
Yes.
He does not look it. Kudos.
No. That's
I mean,
cool.
that's just Hollywood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well.
Money makes you pretty. Obviously, I'm broke.
Oh.
Oh, I'm not going to say that. Not at all. Money makes it easier to stay pretty, though. For sure.
And when your job basically relies on you being pretty, like, you are going to do everything you can to stay pretty. Yeah.
That's just investment. Yeah.
Well, thank you for doing the math then, because, that did bug me, because I'm like, he doesn't look much older than me. And, I was, how old when that episode came out? I was pretty young, so definitely under 20. Much, much under that. I don't even know if I was 10 when that episode came out. Probably not.
So Shaw obviously has survivor's guilt. I think Picard does too.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think that's shown up a couple times since.
Oh yeah, it's continued to haunt him since the show ended.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, because he does say he understands.
Remember that great dialogue? Was it season 1 of Star Trek Picard, where Seven turns to him and was like, have you gotten back all of your humanity? And he's like, no, but I try every day, or something like that.
Yeah, and she says every damn day. Yep. Yep. I love that scene so much.
So I think that sort of alludes to it. It's like it's something that's struggling. It's not just being part of the collective, but what he did with the collective stole his humanity because, Yeah,
because he couldn't stop it. So he's got survivor's guilt and he has the guilt of the events.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I think that's why he allows Shaw to beat him up. Verbally.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I have to wonder how often he's had this experience.
Yeah.
And I know I've brought this up before, and I'm probably going to be bringing it up all season if we keep coming back to this. But, how many people refused to serve on the Enterprise? How many people did not want to deal with him? It's... for him to have come as far as he did and get to the level that he did in Starfleet, I mean, you had to figure somebody on the promotion board lost people at 359. It shows a lot of understanding on the side of Starfleet too, I guess. But that's the defining factor in his life, and I think it's the defining factor in anybody's life who's an ex-Borg. I don't see how it could be anything else.
Yeah. Right.
So then we're going to figure out how to get out of the nebula. We're going to figure out how to get out of the nebula. Beverly's figured out that this is a birthing mother, I guess you could say. Mm-hmm. And so we're going to ride the shockwaves out.
How Star Trekky was that?
Oh, it was fantastic.
Extremely Star Trekky.
Yeah.
I didn't realize until this episode that I was missing the Star Trekkiness of it. And I mean that.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I hadn't noticed that it wasn't really like, we're 4 episodes in, I hadn't noticed that we're not really visiting new planets and not really like checking out sciencey things. It's just been sort of action adventure-y. And I hadn't really caught it until this episode. I'm like, oh, wait. But this is also Star Trek. So there's this alien in space and they're giving birth and they get to witness it. And science, yes. Mm-hmm. Like, oh, yeah, that's what we're watching. Mm-hmm. This isn't The Mandalorian.
Yes. Oh, I love it. We briefly talked about Riker earlier. Does this feel out of character for him, the way he's acting? With how reticent he is to even try?
Yeah, I'm not sure what's up with that.
Well, he was already feeling defeated before he got on the ship because evidently emotional stuff going on with, his family. So he was already in a defeatist mindset, And it's been one thing after another, one problem after another, and I feel like it's just beat him down. So, yeah, we all have our moments.
That's true. It was just interesting to me. You almost get the feeling that he knows if they're all killed, he'll get the answer to his question. If there's anything else. and that's an answer he wants. So, yeah, and in a bit of underhanded but necessary invocation, I guess you could say, Beverly says, "Oh no, Deanna would try. Deanna would actually try to get out of this. Deanna would tell you to do everything you can to get out of it." And I think that
was smart.
Knocked him into
Crusher.
Yes, it was. It was. And I've mentioned before in the season, I really hope we have a moment of. I feel like there has to be some anger on the part of Riker that Beverly disappeared, because I really do feel like if they could have gotten a hold of her, she would have had enough knowledge about Data and about the positronic stuff that she may have been able to save Thad's life. And I wonder if there's any anger there about it. And I kind of hope that gets addressed. Although I may be the only person who's thinking that. I don't know. But it feels natural that there would be to me. So, yeah. So then we get the awesome Riker speech, which is just like what Boimler was trying to do in the episode where he was on command track
with the red shirts.
I thought that was beautiful. I don't know if they intended to cause one to think about that, but I did.
So
I loved. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, what I was going to say is, so on Twitter especially, there was a lot of people comparing this episode to, like The Hunt for the Red October and other marine warfare kind of movies. And that's visually what you got, especially like on Red Alert and everything, and them hiding out in the cloud. What first came to my mind was the Strange New Worlds episode, Memento Mori.
Oh, yeah.
In this episode, the Enterprise hides from the Gorn in a gas cloud orbiting a brown dwarf with gravity that could crush the ship. Now, I mean, here we have another scenario where our hero ship is in this gas cloud where they're around this gravity anomaly that could crush the ship. And it's very similar. And that episode's also been compared to like The Hunt for the Red October and other marine warfare things. And I love that. They both sort of tackled a similar, I guess, issue in a similar way, but it's also very distinct and different. There's not like a copy of one of the other, you know? So anyway, I love that. I love Strange New Worlds. So if I could tie the conversation back in some way to Strange New Worlds, I'm like, oh yeah, it's kind of like this time on Strange New Worlds. Remember that show?
That's a pretty good show.
Definitely. It's a very enjoyable show. Yeah, I hadn't made that connection. I'm glad you brought that up. To me, it was just more, well, with the exception of the gravity well part, it's hiding in the nebula from the Borg. It's hiding in the nebula from Khan. It's more of the Wrath of Khan feeling, you know, which I think is, there's a huge parallel here, and it prompted, I was talking with some people, and one of them mentioned how much this is like Wrath of Khan, the whole season. And I realized, you know, that issue of what Kirk says later, how we face death is just as important as how we face life. That is a central piece of this, at least these few episodes. We'll see how that follows out for the rest of the season. But I really think that's huge. And I think just like with Wrath of Khan, it is reflective of the age of the people involved and the age of the writers and different priorities that one has at different points in life, and you know, where you have to deal more with death generally is older. Ideally is when you're older. So you start to think about those things. But yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. Yay, Strange New Worlds. Yay, Picard.
Can't wait for more.
I know. And it looks like we're going to have another gap because they haven't announced anything.
Yeah, we know. Well, they're already, I believe they've announced they're shooting season 3 already of Strange New Worlds when season 2 hasn't dropped yet. So at least there's more down the pipeline for that. They're two and this is what separates it sort of from Discovery, is that with Strange New Worlds, it's very episodic. You can jump in and out very easy. It's upbeat. It's fun. It's funny at times. And I love that Star Trek. It's got that feel of the Star Trek of old that we love. That's a little camp, a little fun. It doesn't take itself too seriously. And, it came off, oddly enough, from Discovery season 2. And we all know how dark like Discovery was, and here we are with Picard. But with Picard, the tone I feel like is very different from Discovery. Picard is dark too, and it's had dark moments. But I don't know. It doesn't have that. I feel like they still have enough of the little levity to bring it up a little bit. Yeah, I don't know. Just my take.
No, I got you where you're coming from.
And I think we will definitely still get season 2 this year, but it's looking like it's probably not going to be right after Picard, like last year.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking there.
Maybe this summer, right before they drop more Lower Decks.
Yeah, maybe.
Actually, come to think of it, we don't know when the Lower Decks crossover happens. If that's their season finale, that might lead right into the season premiere of Lower Decks.
Or they might have it and Lower Decks overlap some so that crossover meets up.
Yeah.
I hadn't even thought of that. Yeah.
Yeah, that just occurred to me. That'd be cool.
I mean, I'm not super thrilled with having 2 Star Treks on in 1 week again.
Yeah.
As a Star Trek weekly podcaster. But
if it's 1 week and the stories are related,
yes,
then I'm down with it.
But if they overlap the whole season, I'm gonna be tired. Like, I'll still watch and talk about each one, but I'll be tired.
Yeah, they're not gonna do that.
No.
I think we lost Chrissie.
Yes. Yeah. I'm not. I want to see what this last season of Discovery. Obviously, I want to see any Trek that's coming out.
Obviously.
But obviously.
Discovery better get more than 5 seasons. Not Discovery. Lower Decks. Strange New Worlds better get more than 5 seasons.
I mean, I also
hope so.
Wish that Lower Decks would get more than 5 seasons as well. I think Lower Decks should keep going forever.
Lower Decks could be the Simpsons of Trek. I mean, I would be fine with that.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. So when Riker's giving that speech, we have that moment of seeing Shaw, and he's hearing it, and he's laying in bed, and he's got the glass of wine with the flat bottom. I hate those glasses. And it's that moment that really made me think, like, what is he thinking about? How does he feel about this? That this is Riker who's, being inspirational to his crew. And has he ever been able to do that in that way?
Probably not.
But I don't know if anybody... Did you guys read something different in that, or...
Yeah, no, I 100% don't think Shaw's been inspirational. I think that the crew all, eye rolls over him. And you can see it with, is it Lieutenant LaForge? Like, she, in spite of Shaw wanting everybody to call 7 Annika or Commander Hansen, she refuses because she's like, that's not respectful.
Yep.
She even thinks it's stupid. So I feel like there's a lot of people on the crew probably that have 7's back more than Shaw's.
I think you're right on that, yeah. And it was interesting to show Shaw while Riker was giving that speech. And that he's literally in bed. He's sidelined as much as you can possibly be.
Yeah. Well, he's going to learn, I think, and I think this is going to help his growth as a character, why these legends are legends. And he's going to gain respect for them, and maybe he's going to grow and start treating 7 better. I would hope that by the end of the season, even if we don't get any more of these characters, that at the end of the season we have at least one moment where Shaw calls 7 Commander 7.
I hope so, yes.
Yes. And it'll be like at the end of Redemption when the guy that doesn't want Data as the captain calls him captain.
Yeah. Hubs.
In that moment. Yes, that's his name. And we do see a bit of why these legends are legends, because despite everything, who does Picard go to because he knows he can do the job? That is a beautiful scene.
Because he needs a dipshit from Chicago.
Yeah. Grease monkey.
Mm-hmm.
Grease monkey dipshit from Chicago.
But does he
That's
like black
management.
licorice?
Why is that? I'm missing the joke there.
Jet Reno was the grease monkey on Discovery, and she always chewed like black licorice or some sort of candy, and she used it to fix the ship, which I loved.
Yes.
Jet Reno, I mean, they could have just
I
been a
love
show
Jet
about
Reno,
her.
but I hate black licorice.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I do too. I hate black licorice.
Oh, I like black licorice.
Oh.
I was trying to, when you said that, I was trying to figure out what black licorice had to do with Chicago. So I was
right.
like, I didn't make your connection, but...
Sorry, I
Black
was bringing
licorice.
it back to Trek. My bad.
No, yeah, really. I mean, what are you doing? This is not that kind of
Dare
podcast.
you talk about Star Trek on a Star Trek podcast, Mark? Jeez.
We are very, very insulated. Only the episode we're talking about. No references.
So we can't talk about cannibalism?
Oh, yeah, we did do that, didn't we?
Replicated. We talked about replicated cannibalism.
And whether it was ethical or not, yes.
Yeah, we're
And
done.
whether it was ethical and whether it was actually cannibalism. Right. So this made me think about how wonderful Picard's leadership, his management techniques are. The ability that he has to be able to ask somebody he knows really hates him so much, and he really knows now, and he knows why.
Well, he's been preaching
good.
it through all of TNG with like
Oh, I
people
know.
not wanting to work with Barclay and whatnot. Make
Yeah.
it work, make it happen, become friends with him. Like the advice he gave to, Geordi and whatnot. It's like, he consistently as a captain tried to show the people that he worked with that in spite of you maybe not necessarily liking them or getting along with this person, you need to make it work and find a way to make it work and work out your issues. That's what we do as a society. That's who we are.
Yeah.
And I love that he's not just talking the talk here. He's walking the walk.
Exactly. So then they trick the changeling. Well, he goes down and he's going to go fix it. Seemingly reluctantly, even though that's going to be the thing that saves everybody's lives. But sure, Were you fooled by the moment of Ensign LaForge showing up?
No.
Not in the slightest.
No. Okay, I wasn't either.
I don't think they expected anyone to be fooled by that.
No, because they show her on the bridge right then.
Yeah.
Right
before.
beforehand.
So, and I think that's meant to be like, oh, you think maybe they sent her down from the bridge, and then a moment,
Yeah.
No, I think most people saw that one coming.
Yeah.
But we got to speak about it again. That moment where
Oh, please, yeah.
she Seven shot her, and it was like, how did you know? She called me Commander Seven out of respect. And it was just, and she's towering above him, looking down. The camera angle, everything was just so superhero-like,
That
so
was
perfect.
Quite the mic drop. Yes, it was.
Yeah, and he knows he's beaten on that one. He's like, okay, I'm gonna go back to my work now. Good call.
She gets all these good moments. Jerry Ryan, the Trek franchise loves her because going back to season 2 of Picard, when everybody beams down to different places in Los Angeles, and that little girl sees her, says, "Are you a superhero?" And she just winks at her. It's like, and that music was playing. Oh, it's so perfect. She gets all these good moments. I love Jerry Ryan.
And really so.
Jerry Ryan's awesome.
Yeah. So, why do you think the changeling stayed solid? We've never seen that before. I don't think.
What do you mean?
What after she shot and killed the changeling?
Yeah.
It didn't revert back to goo. It kind of started to, and then came back into the form of
Yeah, that's a good point.
Ensign LaForge.
I was wondering about Vadic. this is on topic. I was writing about Vanek and whether or not she was like a hybrid with like the Vorta or something, if they have mated and become partial changelings.
That's a hell of a thought.
Yeah, I was wondering
There's
that
a lot
too.
to unpack there.
No, I wasn't necessarily going with Vorta and Changeling getting it on. But what I was thinking was that,
Jeffrey
like,
Coombs. You get it, girl.
I was thinking of maybe just the Changeling sort of having like a parasitic relationship with some sort of humanoid host there, because the fact that she cut off her hand and her hand turned into a changeling face that she talked to tells us that, I mean, that was obviously not her that she was talking to. So that's why I was wondering if there's like some sort of like symbiotic relationship going on there.
She's got a personality change there. There's only a few lines, but you can tell that that person is timid and scared of what's going on.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Have either of you seen Venom?
Yes.
That's what this reminded me of.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, like a
where you have...
symbiotic relationship. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And at one time the one's taken over. Mark, you haven't seen it?
No.
Oh, you should. Even though it's like it's a superhero movie, but it's like it's funny and ridiculous, kind of the way Deadpool is, where you can just kind of pop into it. You don't really need to know the lore.
Plus, it's Tom Hardy,
and it's Tom Hardy.
Oh.
Yeah. So it's good. But anyway, yeah. I mean, just the fact that the face comes back and is talking to her, it was too Venom for me to not think that too much like.
Yeah. Yeah, that was So that was basically where I was too. I was thinking it's two separate entities together, sort of. Mm-hmm. But no, I hadn't even thought about the personality change. But you're absolutely right. When she was talking to the changeling, it was very much a different personality, at least to what we see when she talks to Picard, for sure. Now, I mean, that could also just be putting on a front, but it could be that when the changeling is attached, she speaks differently because the changeling is part of her.
Yeah, or just speaking in her voice.
Mm-hmm.
She may be completely... Well, I guess she wouldn't be completely subsumed because then they wouldn't have to talk, but...
Yeah.
I don't remember in DS9 enough, but I think that they have shown moments where, like, the changeling part of themselves had been removed or whatnot to do testing, and I think that does alter their personality a bit, puts them a bit off. You know, I think that's already been established.
There's the one episode where Odo lends Bashir some of himself to do some tests on it. And he's like, make sure I get that back. I don't feel quite right until I have it.
Yeah. So I think that is canon already.
I don't know if it's that drastic of a change, though.
No, I don't think so.
No.
I think that's a very tiny change. This, I think, is actually a changeling hitching a ride on Vanek the humanoid. Which is something we have not seen before.
Right, and maybe is related to why the changeling that had duplicated LaForge stayed solid. You know.
Okay.
And people have been talking about, and we talked about how the changeling, the goo looks different.
I love that.
I wonder if there's something else going on, though.
I still think the goo just looks different because special effects are better now, but yes.
I mean, I don't disagree, but maybe there's both.
Sure.
I think
maybe
Terry said online
that
there's a reason for that, and it's going to be addressed.
Okay.
And I don't think there should be, because I think they should just stick to, the special effects are better. But supposedly they're going to address it.
Those are not mutually exclusive.
True.
We could run into, if these are changelings that are like sick or something, right? Or there's something else that's going on that's causing that, then we could also see someone who is a regular changeling and their goo could look better than it did in the 90s.
Well, now I want
not the same as that.
90s goo Odo played by Remy Aubergenois.
Oh, yes.
Because he does look and sound a lot like his father. I think, especially with the CG on top, it would work.
Yeah, no, he looks just like... Does he sound like him, though? Because that voice is very distinct.
He doesn't quite have the gruff, but it sounds.
He didn't smoke.
Yeah, it sounds similar.
Oh, well, hey, I'm here for
Enough.
it.
Yeah, because I actually saw him in a Broadway production last fall and got a chance to talk to him after the show, and he signed the program which he had dedicated to Renee, which I thought was really adorable, and he was very nice guy. Yeah, and he looks so much like it.
Yeah. Maybe we'll luck out on that one.
They're not done with cameos, so they get some unexpected ones, and we only have 5 episodes left. So, or do we 5 episodes left? 6 episodes. Okay.
Yeah. And okay, so since we're talking about Vadic for the moment, disengage the portal system means they dropped a piece of equipment that looked like it was the size of a semi-truck, which came at you on the screen.
Yeah.
And it said Daystrom Institute on it. I had to stop that, and I don't know how many times I had to rewind, and because the Paramount Plus is not exactly user-friendly on stopping at exactly the right moment. But that was interesting to have labeled tech. I mean, it's one thing to steal tech and figure it out. It's another thing. I mean, that's like when they're stealing a cloaking device. With Kirk, it's labeled Romulan cloaking device. I mean, it's not, but you get the idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they still stole the other thing that the portal was a diversion for. So
yeah. So they take the covers off the nacelles. They get it all figured out, and it turns out that this nebula is the mother of space jellies. Where do you guys fall on these are the same ones as Farpoint question?
I mean, they sure look a lot like them.
They really do look a lot like them, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so too.
And I loved the Farpoint reference.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If Troy had been along, she'd probably feel a feeling of great joy and gratitude.
Exactly. And then we get back to Picard and Jack, and he figures out why it was that Jack never actually ended up talking to him.
Yep.
That is a hell of a scene.
The scene where you see that Picard remembers and realizes is, yeah.
That's another one of those moments where the acting is so good they don't need to say anything.
Nope.
This is some good acting this season.
And then Jack has his Stranger Things visions.
Yeah.
What's up with that?
Stranger Things visions or 12 Monkeys visions?
Well, I've seen Stranger Things and I haven't seen 12 Monkeys, so...
Well...
Yeah, I was going to say the same.
Well,
I've been calling them Stranger Things.
They look like Stranger Things stuff, that's all I'm saying.
They also look like the 12 Monkeys. I put it up in the group.
You sent a picture, yeah.
Yeah.
I saw.
Because Terry obviously was the creator of the 12 Monkeys,
right.
And I started watching it before this season dropped, and now I'm just seeing all of these connections. And Cassandra, who's one of the characters on 12 Monkeys, she's having similar visions, and it's, I don't know, it hasn't been explained yet. I'm in season 2 right now, so they haven't really explained why, but I'm looking forward to finding out why it's happening in that show, because maybe it'll relate to this one. But it is, both visions are just like red and black or red and white visions of places, like post-apocalyptic kind of visions. And I wonder if it's going to be for similar reasons or not. It is interesting. They brought that knife in. Also, there's been all of the, like, a lot of cameos from the 12 Monkeys actors. The guy that was the Ferengi in that episode was the lead actor in 12 Monkeys. Obviously, Shaw. We have the music that Time Is On My Side. That started season 2 of Picard. It also started season 2 of 12 Monkeys. So there's been a whole lot of, like, I've even heard dialogue that was the same. Just they've taken it from one show and put it in the other. Some lines that were spoken. I'm like, oh, well, didn't this person say that in Star Trek? So yeah, it's that's another reason why I'm so fascinated by watching 12 Monkeys right now. I'm just hoping that there are clues that'll help me figure out what season 3 of Picard's about.
Yeah. Or they're just reusing shots.
Yeah, or
he's just trying to save
Terry
money.
Matalas just has a bunch of things that worked really well in 12 Monkeys, so he's using them in Picard too.
Yeah. Could be.
And either way. Do we think these are new? Or do you think this is something Jack's been experiencing for a while?
We've only started seeing it after he was exposed to the gas last week.
Okay, that's true. Hadn't thought of it that way.
So, if you guys remember from season 1 of Star Trek Picard, there were the Romulans that found that admonition. And some of them went crazy, and others had these visions of this future with the AI. And it reminds me of that.
Okay.
I think that, and I brought this theory up on Hive Mind yesterday. What I think happened is I think Jack and his mom were out somewhere, and they came in contact with this object similar to what happened to Picard in Inner Light. And the object imprinted this almost psychic imprint on him. Now, the information contained in that psychic imprint is very important to the galaxy. And so you have all of these factions now trying to get Jack Crusher because he's the only one that knows or have seen this information and can talk about it. So they want whatever's in his head, they want that out of his head. And so I believe that's why they're chasing him.
Okay.
Ooh. I hadn't even gone there. I like it. Yeah.
I'm a conspiracy theorist like Raffi.
Yeah, and then he wouldn't even know because it's just sitting there in the back of his head, so to speak.
And so here's my prediction. They're going to space dock this next episode. And, of course, Geordi's going to be peeved at Picard and Riker for putting his daughter in such danger and hijacking the ship she was on. And, he's very upset about that. And so they're going to have a confrontation. But I think what's going to happen is they're probably going to spend the whole episode on the station or around that station, getting repairs done to the ship. And meanwhile, you have Worf and Raffi, they're training. But I think by maybe not the end of this episode, but the beginning of the following, they're all going to meet up at the station once the ship's done repairs, and the whole crew will be together.
Yeah.
You're going to have Raffi and Worf, and all of them, I think, will come together. If not episode 5, then by the beginning of episode 6, they'll all be together.
That makes sense.
To get ready to close out the show. Yeah.
Before we step away from Jack in the mirror, though, did either of you get a good look at the medallion he has on?
No, I was looking at his chest.
Well, I mean, it was good looking anyway, but yeah.
Damn, Jack. Get it.
Again, having, no.
No, I didn't see the medallion, if that was your question.
Yeah, no, I couldn't see
Is
what
it
it was.
you in this instance, Mark? When you say asking Jack to get it, is it you in this instance?
I mean, I wouldn't say no.
I was trying to find a joke about how being a footman on Downton Abbey gives you a good exercise, but it wasn't happening.
Ed Speleers has to be one of the best actors out there right now, because I didn't even recognize him from Outlander, and I'm a big Outlander fan. Didn't recognize him at all. Once I realized it was him, I almost wanted to puke, because his character in Outlander is a disgusting, vile,
terrible.
Evil person.
Oh, yeah.
And I hate his character so much. And so I didn't even recognize him. And I like him here. And I'm like, ooh, picturing him with the shirt off. And then he takes his shirt off. And I'm like, ooh.
I like him better in Picard than I liked him in Downton Abbey as well. I mean, he was not Outlander level bad or anything on Downton Abbey.
He was just there.
But he was mostly not a very interesting character on Downton Abbey. So I'm impressed at how, because that was my only real experience with him. I've only seen a little bit of Outlander, so I'm impressed at how engaging he is, because he definitely didn't have a chance to express his acting chops on Downton Abbey.
No, not at all. Outlander, yes, though. So we know he plays a good villain, and we know he plays so far not a villain. So that's Yeah, so the medallion thing, again, it's my Catholic upbringing. First thing I thought of is maybe it's a saint's medal. Patrons of physicians.
Here's the thing. I got it.
Okay.
The medallion was picked up on one of the planets that they were
maybe that's the thing.
Rescuing the people, and he found this like an archaeological thing. I mean, he's Picard's son, so maybe he's got DNA. He's interested in archaeology. He picks up this object. This is kind of cool. I'm going to start wearing it. The object is the object that he touched to start seeing the visions. It's giving him these visions.
Okay.
So maybe they're less after him and more after the medallion. I don't know.
So it's the Ring of Power.
Sure.
Frodo does wear it on a chain for a while around his neck.
Or one of the medallions from Pirates of the Caribbean.
There you go.
He's going to turn into a skeleton. Whenever the moon shines on him, he's going to turn into a skeleton.
That might be difficult in space.
It's true. There's lots
of moons. Yeah.
True.
I'd like to see his moons. Anyway.
Oh, hey-o.
That's a good place to end it. Anything else?
Well, it is
we want to
TVMA,
talk
so we
about
could.
Yeah. All right, then. Final thoughts. Mark.
This show is definitely, like, I brought up The Mandalorian before, but it kind of reminds me of that in a way where The Mandalorian, what I love about it is that the writing is just really well thought out, and even between seasons, it's like there's not this sort of, we're changing things up, things are completely different now than they were season one or whatever. It's just very consistent. There's a clear, concise story that's being told. And this is what we're getting finally with this season of Picard. It's like they're maintaining the same level, the same momentum. Each episode after episode, is just maintaining the same quality, storytelling. Everything's just been superb. They've knocked it out. They haven't had a bad episode yet. I'm looking forward to them continuing with that trend. I will say, though, that and I brought this up yesterday on Hive Mind, they seem to be hitting sort of the same notes, where Strange New Worlds, each episode I think was fantastic, and I loved each episode. They hit different notes. It was like, playing, like the whole season one was a song, and each episode was a different part of that song. This all feels very much like, I don't want to say one note because that sounds bad, but kind of. It's all been the same chocolate cake. Like, I like this cake. It's good cake. And then each episode you're eating more of that same delicious cake. But they haven't changed the recipe any. That's my thoughts. I love it. It's great. But I don't know. I'd like to see some sort of a mix-up where instead of chocolate cake, maybe we get, something else, pistachio next week.
People have described it as a 10-hour movie.
Mm-hmm.
So that might be why you're getting that vibe, because it is so interconnected.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I think we may get something a little different next week, just because we have now resolved the
Vadic.
We've resolved the big conflict that they've been building to for the past 3 episodes. I mean, Vadic is still out there, but they escaped the nebula. They can now warp away and live happily ever after. Well, probably
deal
not.
with the fact that there's changelings around.
Yeah, probably not live happily ever after, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm quite sure Vadic did not get pulled into.
Oh no, I'm sure Vadic is still out there.
Yeah.
I'm also a little disappointed at the lack of Robert Picardo in this episode, because wouldn't it have been great to see the doctor when all of a sudden everything's going to heck and they need another doctor there just for the EMH to pop in? Please state the nature of the medical emergency.
He could.
That was a pretty good impersonation. I'm proud of myself.
It was. It was.
Yeah, you got the prissiness down pretty good there.
Thanks.
All right. Any additional final thoughts, Thad?
I really enjoyed, speaking of the final conflict with Vadic, I liked that Riker's reaction was basically a response to what Vadic had done in the beginning when they had thrown a ship at them.
Oh, yes.
Was to throw an asteroid at her. I thought that was great.
Did you just throw an asteroid at them?
Goddamn
You're
right.
goddamn right.
And it's fun because obviously on TNG there were 26 episodes a season for 7 years. There are a lot of episodes where weird things happen, but in the season 2 episode Contagion, when the ship is suffering from all sorts of faults and things, there's a line where Riker says, in case we get into combat, could you arrange to find some big rocks for me to throw at them?
Mm-hmm.
Whole new meaning.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. That's such a good episode.
Anyway, I loved it. I want more.
Yeah, same. I want to find out what's happening next, which we all do, but I just this was a really good episode. Maybe the best of the season so far. Yeah, probably the best of the season so far. I'm always bad at picking.
You'll say that next week.
I might.
And
That's why I said so far. Yeah. Yeah, I might be saying that every week. I think
I've said that every week.
I know, actually, yeah, people have been, and they're right. So yeah, bring us more. All right, well, Mark, thanks so much for joining us today. This was fun.
Thanks for tolerating me.
What do I would say thanks for tolerating us. So I mean,
It's been a pleasure.
So I know we have some listeners in common, but in case people have not heard you elsewhere, where can they find you online, and where can they hear you talk about such things as Star Trek and other things?
Yeah, so
that made sense.
I am on this network. I have a show called All Good Things, where we jump around and talk all of Star Trek. During Picard, we do have a mini segment at the beginning called Escape Pod, where we do spend the first 10, 15 minutes of the episode discussing what's happening with Star Trek Picard. But then we usually pivot to talking, legacy Trek. So we jump around from Deep Space Nine, Voyager, Enterprise, the animated series, you name it. Strange New Worlds, it's all there. So if you guys want to check that out, you can find me there. Also, if you become a patron of the network on Patreon, I host a show called It's Green, where I do some cool interviews and have a lot of fun. Usually there's drinking involved, but it's not a show about drinking. And you can find me on Twitter at MarkWhite207.
All right. And Thad, where can people find you when you're not looking for big rocks to throw at the baddies?
Best place to find me is on Twitter. I'm at Tyrannicus. That's Tyranicus, where I talk about a lot of things, but mostly Star Trek. You can also hear me on the podcast I do with my friend Carl called License to Spiel. That's license spelled with a C like the British do it, where we talk about James Bond and James Bond adjacent things. Chrissie, where can people find you when you're not being an asshole to people in the holodeck?
That'd be, you could use a holodeck as a very cathartic, just make a holographic image of the person that is really pissing you off and then just let it all out. And
I mean, there was that one episode of Voyager where Tuvok had the snapping Neelix's neck simulation.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. That's a little heavy, but yeah. So, in addition to here in Infinite Diversity, you can find me on History with the Szilagys here on BQN. That is our supposed to be twice weekly history short podcast, but has been more once weekly lately. History podcast that I do with my fellow historian husband, Jason. I'm also happy to chat about all of our shows in the BQN Collective on Facebook. And I'm on Twitter at the Goddess Livia, that's TheGoddessLivia, where I tweet about Star Trek history and leftist politics.
So we're kind of done with Mastodon, huh?
I never did Mastodon.
I'm technically still on Mastodon, but no.
I didn't foresee that having legs. Just saying.
If Twitter had actually imploded, it would have. But
it would have. Yeah. That one day when everybody thought it was going to be over, I think that would have been it. But
when Twitter for 6 hours made it so that you get banned if you link to any other platform, I think we all thought that it actually might get destroyed at that point, but it didn't.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. Sorry. It's my Don't forget all our other great shows on BQN, like Galaxy Class, All Good Things, Union Federation, What's the T-Bev, Trexperts Quiz, Mickey's Marvels, and History with the Szilagys. And exclusively for our Patreon members, there's It's Green with Mark White and Amy's Math Moment.
And thank you so much for tuning in to Infinite Diversity. Thank you to Zach Tripp for the wonderful theme music and our guest Mark White for the great show art. Please subscribe in your favorite podcast player and don't forget to rate and review us there as well.
If you want to reach out, you can find the network on Twitter at BQN Podcasts or our show specifically at INIC Podcast. You can also talk about any and all of the BQN podcasts in our Facebook group, the BQN Collective. When you hear from us next, we'll be talking about Episode 5 of Picard, Imposters. Until then, peace and long life.